Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Storm Report. I'm Ron Lighthall alongside Terry Spain. Terry, welcome.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, as always.
And here we are. We are donning our cans because we're getting ready to go on the road. And what better opportunity to make sure all our road gear is up and ready and good to go, because we're going to be bringing a great show. So, again, welcome. I mean, studio's looking good.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. As always, the studio's been looking great since the beginning. You've done a tremendous job in here.
It is the Zoa Energy studio. We got hooked up this week, man. Tell us a little bit about Brandon and you connecting with him over the weekend. And you had a big weekend. And tell us a little bit about Brandon hooking us up, man, because we got to talk about the gift.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Zoa. Shout out to Brandon for definitely wanting to partner with us, because they believe in this show that we have here, and it gives them traction. It gives us traction. So it's kind of a win-win thing for both partners. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we've gotten all the energy drinks here, and I'm excited about trying each and every one of them, as you already know. And then the helmet, I've been trying on this helmet ever since I got it. I put it on every day I've had it, so I'm definitely excited about it.
I did the same with the Storm helmet there. You kind of you can't help yourself,
right?
And I know every guy out there watching is like, oh yeah, we've all done that.
So I'm not the only one.
Yeah, my varsity jacket still fits. I could do it, Coach. So you had a big weekend. We always talk about you being out and about. Tell us a little bit about the award that you presented this weekend. That's kind of cool. And again, we on this show, we know sports fans are sports fans, mm-hmm. and they love a good sports story,
right?
Regardless,
of course,
if it's outside the periphery of the UFL. Mm-hmm. But you had a big weekend. Tell us about the award that you presented.
Yeah, amazing weekend. I'm on the board for the Bob Feller Active Valor Foundation, and one of the things that we get to do on the board is we present a Major League Baseball player who's currently playing, and then one who has since retired. And all the work that they do for the military, we were able to nominate an awardee, and then we give the recipient the award. And so this past week, we had the unique opportunity to give Pedro Martinez, Boston Red Sox great, the award for the Bob Feller Foundation, and he was extremely grateful for that. You could see the passion in his eyes, along with his family that was there at JetBlue Park down in Fort Myers, Florida. So shout out to the Bob Feller Foundation, and because they do a tremendous job with helping our veterans as well. But this is one of the great things that we get to do as far as a board member, and donating, giving back to those who have helped our military service and everyone else that's a part of our organization.
And Pedro won this a couple of years ago. You just haven't been able to connect.
Yeah,
so.
Timing. He's a hard man to track down, so he won it 2 years ago, but we found that it was fitting for us to do it at the Red Sox Park during training camp, and he was definitely on board with it, and we made it happen.
That's fantastic. That's incredible. My week was chaotic. My son was in Puerto Vallarta last week when all hell broke loose. So I'm a nervous wreck. He's trying to tell me everything was fine. It only lasted about 48 hours or so. Meanwhile, he's sending me pictures of tire fires and cars burning and buildings burning and helicopters outside of his hotel room telling me, everything's fine. Dad. Everything's fine. So, that was a bit of a relief. Big week in the UFL though. Pads went on yesterday. These guys are moving on. A lot of roster adjustments. We lost Jayshon Corbin.
Yeah, we did.
And off the roster, and there's a couple more coming as well. So.
Yeah, and you're going to see that during this time. You lose players, you gain players, and we lost one Florida State running back, and we was able to gain another Florida State running back. So that's actually good. And I saw some of the videos of some of the players when they were able to put the pads on and all the stuff that they were able to do, not just only from the Orlando Storm, but across the UFL. So it was exciting to see, and everybody's gearing up and ready to play some football.
Well, one of those things those guys are going to have to acclimate themselves to is a set of new rules.
Wow.
So the new rules it's a double-edged sword. You're seeing some positives, some negatives, and I have to say, I'm going to preempt this. You said something profound to me this week that we're going to get to, that it didn't hit me in my cynicism, but you brought it into complete perspective in just one line, and we'll get to that in a minute. But the new rules change, it got a lot of buzz. It got a lot of talk. Everybody's talking about the new rules. And one thing to talk about rule changes is it's not a rule change, but it's indicative of a growing league, and a league that wants to set itself apart, still maintain that thread of original football, but at the same time expand it, make it a little bit different, a little bit more unique, and a little bit more score friendly. Fan engagement is going to be on the rise.
Yeah, it definitely has, and it's been creating a lot of buzz. I was watching Around the Horn and Tony Coinhauser.
Oh, he had a unique take.
Yeah, and he said that if he likes the rule, but you should take a point away if they miss it. I really don't like that, because when you go for a 2-point conversion in the NFL, then they don't take those points away. You just don't get the points.
It's funny, and I was pressed. I was like, name another sport where they take points away. I mean, once you earn points, you earn points.
That's true.
I could understand maybe a penalty, or if you miss, are they going to get the ball on that exact spot? I mean, the penalty is going to be field position ultimately. If you miss that kick from 60 yards, I mean, it's going to be costly. I don't like taking the points away.
Yeah, and you got to have a lot of faith in your kicker. So this rule highlights kickers, and I know kickers are probably excited because they want to show off their leg. A lot of people say, "Oh, you only kick the ball 20 yards, 30 yards," but when you have an opportunity to kick it 60+ yards and score and get 4 points versus 3 points, this kind of just highlights the kicker and show what their talents are. Yeah.
So you're, instead of being like a quarterback dominant league, you're going to be a kicker dominant league. You're going
it can happen.
Your first pick, first round is going to be a kicker. A guy notorious for 60+ yards.
Right.
But yeah, I like the rule. But again, I'm going to get back to that profound statement. And you talk about rule changes, especially when it comes to leagues merging and stuff like that. Tell me once again what you said, and I was just stunned and thought, wow, that is so dead on.
Well, the ABL actually initiated the 3-point rule, and then the ABA adopted it because they wanted to merge with the NBA. And so the NBA thought it was kind of gimmicky as well, right? And so in 1979, they really took it seriously, and they adopted, and kind of incorporated the 3-point rule. But it's two things that happened in that same year. You had two dynamic superstars that got drafted that year, and one of those completely benefited from that 3-point contest, that 3-point rule now, and that was Larry Bird. So Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were drafted in 1979 when the NBA kind of took in that 3-point rule. And look what it has done to this day. You wouldn't have a Steph Curry. You wouldn't have a Ray Allen. You wouldn't have a Kyle Korver and all these 3-point marksmen that we have today.
And you wouldn't have the records for points.
That's right.
I mean, each one of those shots, is an additional point every time you hit it.
Right. And so when the NBA adopted that 3-point rule and they saw that, hey, this can work. We like it. And I think the NFL, because a lot of people were trying to push the NFL to get more points, right, and how to make the game more exciting. They adopted the rule what the UFL has done with the kickoff, and the NFL waited a couple years to see how the UFL and the XFL both at those times were doing it, and it worked out successfully for them because it gives the onus back to the kickoff returner.
In any sport around the globe, name a better play than a buzzer beater 3-pointer.
There is none, unless it's a walk-off field goal.
Walk-off field goal, walk-off home run, but still not the same as a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
When you dish it out and they nail it from 3. I like the 4-point rule. I mean, I do like it. Kind of makes it unique, makes it different, and gimmicks are what's going to drive this league. You want to talk about some gimmicky stuff. You and I had talked about it before, but Mike Repole he's engaged with the fans.
He's locked in with the fans.
He's changing the way that you engage with your fan base. You get their feedback directly. Nobody's emailing and on Twitter with Roger Goodell.
Right.
Trying to tweak the NFL football, and giving your 2 cents worth about a bad call against Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
That's for us internally. But Mike Rapole is responding. He's ribbing fans. He's, pushing it, and I love that aspect. Some of the other rule changes that we're going to be seeing and kind of the enhancements is they're on the cutting edge of this, because this is something the NFL is really considering, is the no tush push.
Yeah, and that's been going around with the NFL for a while. The league owners, they've been voting, and a lot of folks were against the tush push. But the UFL is saying, okay, hey, we're going to ban it for this year. And I know the NFL is looking at how the makeup of that would be without the tush push. I mean, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, anytime you can give your team an edge to get a first down or what have you, and they're taking that away, some folks will be like, well, you're just taking something away that that can actually help out a team. But how do you feel about it?
I tell you what, I on the periphery, I am a NASCAR fan. I am not a guy who knows every name and number and every driver, but I enjoy a little bit of the auto racing. And I equate this a little bit to auto racing where, it's not in the rule book, but we bent that piece of metal, like this, and it's up to the governing body to stop them. And that's what I think the governing body is doing, is saying, okay, well, you got away with it. Yeah, it's in the playbook or in the rule book. It's allowable until it's not.
Right.
And it forces them to rewrite the entire the entire rules. Formula One is notorious,
of course,
with their rules. And I don't know the exact story, but I remember a car that was completely redesigned, all within the rule book. But they were shaving seconds off their times because they had changed an intake, and bent it out a little bit, all within the rules. That following year, they said, no, everybody's got to have the same. So, I like eliminating the tush push. I like eliminating it because it's a boring play.
Right. And then the UFL did another thing that kind of went back to the college realm. They said that the 1 foot in bounds.
Love it.
So you're a fan of the 1 foot. What makes you a fan of the 1
because
foot in
the
bounds?
NFL is the only organized football in the entire world that has 2 feet in. And I went down the wormhole to figure out why. And I'm going to flex a little bit. And I'm only sharing like new information to me. And it goes back to a 1949 rule where they were having problems with referees making the calls. So they went to a 2 foot decisive rule because the referees were making some iffy calls about the 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So in its purest form, there's a rule change for you. You talk about changing the rules and shaking things up. In 1949, there was wide receivers saying, huge. Wait a minute, come on, and they changed that rule. The CFL, the UFL, all the precursors, college, the European League, it hasn't affected their gameplay. It hasn't affected their gameplay at all. And ultimately, if you're a fan of the tush push to get that extra yard, to get that first down, or that that extra yardage you need, then you have to be a fan of the 1 foot in. I mean, if it's about first downs and getting first downs and getting the gameplay advanced, I like it.
Well, one of the things I do see where you're coming from, but one of the things that I had a issue with is a lot of these players are looking to get to the NFL again, right? So you're going to have to adopt. So these wide receivers, you're going to have to. You're so used to, just like coming out of college. These guys were used to having that 1 foot in, and they couldn't make those plays anymore because in the NFL it's 2 feet. So it's kind of like regressing a little bit to me, on a professional standpoint. If the NFL is the ceiling where you're trying to get to, you would probably be more inclined to say, okay, I would prefer the 2 feet in, because I know if I get called up at any moment that I have to be able to produce and have 2 feet in, versus, well, last week I was in the UFL and now I had 1 foot, So I could see both ways, but I think
great receivers rise to the challenge.
Trust me, I'm a Jerry Rice fan. I've been all these different wide receivers that have played with 2 feet in, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that you have to play to the level where you're trying to get to. So I'm not against it. I'm definitely not against it, but I want to see how this rule is really going to transpire for those wide receivers that's going to get called up to the NFL.
You want to see a 54-49 game, or do you want to see a 9-3 game?
I want to see a good game.
Could be 9-4 if they hit it from beyond 60. But yeah, I think the excitement level with these rule changes are going to be something different. And let's touch on something about rule changes. I hate the kickoff in the NFL now. I mean, when I go back, and I will constantly, and I know you're a Bears fan, you are now being robbed of that Devin Hester Super Bowl moment.
Devin Hester loves it, because his like he mentioned before, every Super
watches
Bowl
35 seconds,
and then he's done. So I mean, that's a good thing though. So his record is still standing.
There's two versions of that. It's the Miami Dolphins when that final team has their undefeated season broken. They all pop the champagne.
Right.
And Devin Hester only watching the first 35 seconds at the Super Bowl and
that's it.
Walking away.
My day is done.
But, I love the old open field kickoff. I don't like – and again, I'm an old man. Okay? And with that is change. So I don't like when my computer updates. I don't like buying a new car. I don't like change. I don't like updates.
Right.
And as an iPhone user and the constantly upgrading, and it throws me off. And I think and I know the problem is the problem is in this chair, not in the sport itself. It's the change. So. But you adapt and you change. But at the same time, you have to recognize that the UFL has to do something to separate itself, much like Arena League did. And they had kind of like quirky, weird rules and
they did.
Shorter fields. And that never tainted the gameplay. It never tainted the excitement.
I think the biggest thing is going to be that 4-point play. I think a lot of folks have been talking about it. And anytime you make Sports Center, Tony Kornhauser talks about it, Around the Horn talks about it. A lot of folks are waiting to see how this 4-point field goal is going to turn out. But not only that, just imagine if you're the first kicker to kick this 4-point conversion and the history that you're going to make. There's going to be a lot of momentum in that because you got to realize there have been a lot of kickers who played in the UFL last year and the year before, and now they're in the NFL. And so these guys have learned how to kick. The perfect example, the kicker from Jacksonville. I seen this guy kick 70 yards. You think he would love to get 4 points for that?
Oh, yeah. I tell you. One of the other rules, though, when you talk about the kickers is once you cross the 50-yard line, the punt is no longer you cannot punt after you cross the 50-yard line. And that's not to say you can't cross the 50-yard line to the 48, take a penalty, and you go back to the 47 of your side.
Yeah, where you started.
And
I think
you're
it's
still
in the last 2 minutes too.
No punt. I mean, I see a disastrous situation. You get to the 49, an errant snap, and you go back, and it's 4th and 22.
Everything's fair game with this new rule. So,
it's 4th and 22, and you're not allowed to punt.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah,
because they have other things as well, as far as like you can actually go for it. You got to declare it. That rule was adopted last year as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of exciting things.
The rules are a series of links. If I'm facing that 4th and 22 with punt not being an option, I'm going to be thanking the powers that be for allowing 1 foot in.
Yeah.
because that opens it up,
So it's a win-win.
It's a win-win. So, each rule change begats, and it's all intertwined.
Yeah.
I mean, it changes the way that you game plan. It changes the way what clock management was a thing. Now kick management's going to be a thing.
Of course, and this is what's going to make the UFL season this season even more exciting to watch, and actually even more excited to go and attend a game because you can no telling what you're going to be able to see. When the season starts, anything's happening, and like I said, the biggest thing for me is this 4-point. I'm a fan of it because I can see it likening a la the 3-point conversion when the NBA took that on.
I tell you what, we have to encourage fans to get out there, get your tickets, secure your seats. There are tons of great seats still available. Reach out. We'll put the graphic up on screen on how you can get your tickets. They have now. There's 5 home games. Season tickets. Great seats for $20. I mean,
can't beat it.
Can't beat it. And the fan base now is broad spectrum.
Of course.
I mean, this is huge. So, with girls now with the flag football, unbelievable. It's huge. It's huge. It is unbelievable. And they have the World Championships here in Orlando, and it's amazing. Yeah. I mean, the athleticism that American females have and have put on display at the Olympics, it trickles all the way down. It is huge right now. It is a great time for women in sport right now.
It definitely is.
And especially like cracking into that sacred male dominated space of football and now they're cracking. You got great female coaches, you got female referees, you've got girls playing college football now and not just kicking. I mean, you've got receivers and you've got people in the backfield. So it's a big time, and the fan base is huge. So you bring that young person in, that's their first professional experience, you could change the way they think. You know, when they see that pomp, the circumstance, the sights, the smells. I mean, there's nothing better than live sports.
Right, and why not bring them to an Orlando Storm game?
Absolutely, inaugural season, it's just a fantastic organization, and it's chugging along. Orlando being I want to say an upstart team, but I know they inherited a team, with all the movement. It's hard to say. Some people say, well, they're the old Michigan Panthers, but they're really not. They're,
right.
The different movements that went about. But Orlando is going to be something special. I mean, that stadium is unbelievable. I can't say that enough. I mean, it's going to be a great outing.
Yeah, Entering Code is going to be rocking. And the thing about it, one of the things that I like now, the UFL, they are really pushing soccer as well. It's not just about look at my league and look what
absolutely.
we can do. They're all working together to
sir.
make one big collective effort. And I definitely enjoy and I like to see that because everyone's supporting each other and you don't have to try to one-up each other. The support is definitely there.
I like that as well. That they're recognizing their space. They're invading soccer space, and they are certainly the benefactors. But every team, with the exception of the Battlehawks, have gone into basically soccer stadiums, and there's a lot of chatter amongst the Battlehawks about coming out of the dome and going into their soccer stadium there in St. Louis.
Yeah, and I had a chance to drive past their soccer stadium because for the last 2 years, the UFL championship has been played in St. Louis. And St. Louis has a serious buzz that's going on with them as it relates to professional sports. You got the Cardinals there, you got the soccer team, and that stadium is phenomenal, and it's in a great location as well. But they're gonna have to have the numbers. That soccer stadium is going to have the numbers because the Battlehawks fans, they come to represent, and they 40,000 plus every game.
And they had the rug pulled out from under them, so
right.
The passion is there for St. Louis. I know as Orlando fans, we have to start building a little more hate towards our the other teams. It's not going to happen. I think being a fan of every team and wishing the best for every team is what's going to make the league better. I mean, smack talking is fun.
Yeah.
But I think overall, you don't want to see anything bad happen to any one of these teams.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But, that's one of the things that a lot of the old school players used to take. They used to smack talk a lot, but they didn't wish any bad things was happening. And a lot of players have to get back to that. Competition is good. It's friendly. As long as it's, you're not trying to wish ill will on someone.
Right.
So this season is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
I am definitely – I can't wait.
It used to be in the world of PR, that, they're talking trash about you. And the only thing you hear is, they're talking about you.
That's right.
All
good news.
It's all good news. Again, we want to thank our awesome sponsors. We want to thank Robin Fisher with State Farm. That's a huge. He's our first sponsor, so it'll always be special. We want to thank Brandon with ZOA, who really stepped up for us this year to make sure that we have the look, the vibe. We have the ability to work hand in glove. We're going to be doing a lot of fan events. You and I are we're working with the league and we are going to be by proxy our own little local committee here with marketing, and we are working with the league, and we're trying to get some events going here.
Of course.
And it's tougher than you think. I mean, it's been a little bit tougher than I thought it was going to be. I thought they'd be excited, but
and the thing about it too, speaking of excitement, we keep talking about Tom's Watch Bar. They're definitely excited. I got a chance to go back out there, and even the waitress and the waiters, they're like, yeah, you guys are coming to broadcast it. Yeah, and they're all in. They're excited about it. And then our football. You want to talk about our football? What do you think about our football?
We're going to hold on.
You
I love it,
okay.
but
okay.
Let's hold that for a teaser for our next broadcast, because people are going to be wowed. And I got to tell you, the passion that it takes for somebody to put this kind of time and effort into a gift for us and our show and what we're doing, it really touches you deeply. It really does. And you know, a lovely young woman that you've had a long time history with. You know, it's almost a family member for you.
Yeah, we were coworkers, and she definitely has a great talent, and so I was really impressed, and I was really excited that she wanted to gift us with this football.
Yeah, and we're gonna get her in studio, because I want her to talk about her talents and you know, the way, you know, artists see the world differently.
Yeah,
they really do.
Yeah,
you know, they see the world differently. But as you know, as far as that go, you know, we're testing out our on the road gear that we can't wait to get on the road. But you and I will be at the away games. That's big. That's big. I mean, we're not. You know, we're not going to be sitting here in this studio. We're going to have Tom's Watch Bar. We're going to be on site. We got our backgrounds. I mean, we ordered special custom backgrounds for on the road for the Storm Report. We're going to be in the locker rooms. We're going to be in the hallways and getting interviews. And I'm super excited about that. I mean, for just a little bit how big of a part we are with the Orlando Storm in their inaugural year.
Yeah, we're taking this show on the road, and a lot of people are behind us. And, we have our YouTube page, and we have all these other platforms that we have, our Twitter page or X page, whatever one you want to go with. And a lot of people have been backing us, and they're pushing us because they get their news through us, and this is what I like about it.
Well, Terry, I want to thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
and,
always.
Always. We are, I'm excited about going on the road, man. I am genuinely excited. I mean, I am, and I mean on the road, like even in Orlando. I mean, we're based on the Space Coast here in Florida, but we're reaching out. We're working with the UFL. We're going to get some activity here on the Space Coast. Get some players over here. That's our goal.
Yeah.
And we want to do a lot, because Orlando knows. I had a conversation with the head coach Anthony Becht, and they know how important the Space Coast is to the fan base. They know. Anthony Becht knows.
Huge,
extremely huge.
Yeah.
And they are going to reach out. So talking to players, they think it's kind of cool, because I at the fan rally I was able to have some private conversations with some of the players and talking about the Space Coast, and I when they found out, they said hey, there could potentially be a launch during a game, and they thought it was kind of cool. And UCF experiences it, and
all the time.
The commentators are excited about watching the rocket go off. So that is something that could set Orlando apart and really endear itself here to the Space Coast.
It definitely is, and like I said, I'm excited about it. I almost put this helmet back on because I'm ready. I got to drink my Zoe energy drink, because I'm gonna need that before I get out there on the field, though.
We'll each don a helmet and run at each other in the hallways. So when we're all bound up and bandaged for our next broadcast, people they'll know why. Anyway, Terry Spain, thanks for joining us. I'm Ron Lighthall, and I want to thank you all. And reach out to us, follow us on our YouTube, follow us on our Twitter page. And again, we're just getting started.
Yeah, most definitely. And if you follow us, you may have an opportunity to win some of these Zoa drinks that we have back here too. So make sure you follow us on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you, and thank you for tuning in.